Controlling your career as an artist, is that something that you think about, or do you hire people to think about?
It's something I've always been really lucky with since I started. Like, my first single that I was just playing, I was 18 when that came out, so I was quite young, a few years ago. And I always, with my first album, I always had a lot of control creatively with the writing.
Right.
And also with my image, and I always did, everything I did I was really comfortable doing. And yeah, I always had the creative control, but I had a great team around me and still do.
To help you as well.
Yeah.
But the more famous you become, the bigger a star you become, it must be harder then to control it, to control your image and your career and so on.
Yeah, I think just because, you know, it goes to such a much bigger scale than you were before, but in that sense, you also get more control because, like, the more success you get, it's like the more...
You can call the shots.
Exactly. So it's actually better. So I feel like, you know, a few years on from then, I feel like I have the most control now. And also, I've just grown up a bit, so I know more what I want to do. And, yeah, it's really
Because you are getting on now. You're, what,
I'm
all
really
of
old.
24, I'm told.
I feel so old. I turned 24 in January.
Oh, Pixie, don't you worry.
You need that.
A few years before the pension clicks in. In the old days, which is only about 5 years ago, people like you had to worry about the newspapers, particularly the tabloids, and a bit about the television image and so on. It's much more difficult. It's much more complicated with social media now, isn't it? And that you can't really control.
You can't control social media. You can't control the internet, I think. You know, it's so massive and so vast. It's like you can be anywhere and everyone's got a camera phone, so everyone just puts it up straight away. And, you know, it spreads like wildfire, so it's crazy. But also, in a way, the internet is brilliant because, you know, for a new artist, you could have a song or even do a cover on YouTube or something, and someone in China can see your talent and can see your song. So there's some pluses and there's some...
And you can deal, you're not filtered through the newspapers or through the broadcasters. You can deal direct with the fans.
Exactly, and that's one of the best things, like about Twitter and stuff like that. You can see exactly what the fans want, what they love. You can talk to them. And, yeah, that's really good. It's about bringing you close with your fans, and I think that's the really positive thing.
Are you happy then at the moment? 24, huge success. Are you happy with the overall image that you have? Is that fine for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, I've always had control, and I've always, like I said, been comfortable with the image and the videos and the shoots that I've done. And, you know, it's been fun experimenting, doing different things. But yeah, I've been lucky. I've always had control, so I've always been happy with what I've done.
Louise, you were a politician. You married into the music industry.
Yep.
What's easier to control, the political image or the music industry image?
God, you'd have to have Peter on the couch and ask him that. I think artists, brilliant artists, they know their own mind and they direct their own creative careers, and managers, good managers, are just there to facilitate that, make sure they don't get ripped off, suggest to them the right ways to go. But a really good manager will never try to control his or her artist's creativity, because no serious artist will put up with that. Maybe a manufactured boy band, but not a real artist.
You tweet a lot and you use social media. Is that important for a politician now, as part of their image?
It's like David Cameron said, too many tweets. I'm fine with it because I was only ever a junior backbencher. If I'd been a minister, I would start tweeting more boringly. I think you've got to be careful. You know, you have to be a little bit careful. One unguarded thing that you say can put your whole party into disrepute, whereas an artist, I think, should just be totally authentic.
Yeah.
Bit like,
unlike a politician, you
unlike a politician. A bit like, I mean, I love, he's my boss, but I love Rupert Murdoch's Twitter because it's full of mistakes. He doesn't care, and it's so obviously...
I think he's had a few Chardonnays.
No, not at all, no. But
while he tweets it.
It's totally...
Well, even the spelling is wrong.
He doesn't care, does he?
Oops.
He just
tweet?
doesn't care.
I do, I tweet. I think it is...
Have you got 1 million, billion, zillion followers?
A couple. I'll tweet you later.
A couple of zillion.
Do you use Twitter?
I do.
I'll tweet you later.
You will?
Yes, I'll tweet you later.
It'll be stratospheric.
Andrew, do you read your replies? I think everybody on Twitter wants to know. Do you read your replies? Do you click on your and have a look at what people are saying?
Sometimes, if I've got time. The more followers you get, the harder it is to go through.
Yeah.
Charlie, of course, has no idea what we're talking about.
I've very little idea. I've very little idea, but I do. I have a Twitter account, but I haven't dared tweet once.
You should.
On the basis that I would start to tweet like, you know, Rupert Murdoch will go horribly wrong. So I think that's a bad idea. But how do you feel about, you described going around, everybody having mobile phones, everybody able to see what you do. Do you not feel that's a terrible intrusion? Because people are really interested in you.
I sort of feel like it's just the times. You have to go with the times. Like, first of all, when I did have a Twitter, I was like, well, this is a bit weird. I have to, like, tweet about what I'm doing all the time. And I sort of felt like it was a bit intrusive. And I loved the days of, like, Marilyn Monroe and the stars of that time because it was all mysterious. And no one knew exactly.
And they were distant in a
And they were
way.
distant. Any picture they had, they always looked glamorous. Like, there's some terrible pictures of me online where I'm just, like, scooting around getting some milk or something and I look, like, dreadful.
Yeah.
And I love the sort of mystery of all those massive Hollywood stars from back in the day. But I think the times have changed, obviously, and you have to embrace
go
it.
with it.
So you
And
have to get
Charlie, when
involved.
you start tweeting, I just want to, you do not use a quill pen. You don't dip it in ink and write. And if you make a
You mean I can use a biro for this?
you don't use the Tipp-Ex on it. You're able to delete it
right.
later on.
Most-
I'll show you later.
Thank you very much.
He doesn't get out very often, you know. He's from an analogue age. You're in studio at the moment. Are you recording?
Yeah, exactly.
And out a new album?
Yeah, so this is the most exciting time for me. Well, apart from performing, that's like my favourite. But in the studio, I love. Because, yeah, it's where you start from scratch and hopefully where you make the magic. And it's the creative time where you can just write and write with who you want and write what you want to write, experiment. It's so much fun.
We look forward to listening to it when it
I hope
comes
you
out.
like it.
Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
But that's your Pixie Lott for tonight. I'm sure you've never heard that before.